This is a Monday.com ad. The same Monday.com helping people worldwide getting work done faster and better. The same Monday.com designed for every team and every industry. The same Monday.com with built-in AI, scaling your work from day one. The same Monday.com that your team will actually love using. The same Monday.com with an easy and intuitive setup. Go to Monday.com and try it for free. Yes, the same Monday.com.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia, Texas State Representative and author of the book Wealth Warrior. Last week in the stock market, the Dow was down 0.41%, the S&P 500 was up 0.35%, and the NASDAQ was down 0.16%. We had a big portion of the Magnificent Seven report last week, also known as the Mag 7. That is comprised of Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Tesla. Now, this week we have Alphabet and Amazon, but the other five already reported last week. This usually means that there is a lot of volatility in the market because these are the biggest tech companies that can either drive the market towards an increase or decrease. Now, while the majority of those companies did beat earnings and revenue, we did not see that reflected in the market. It's unusual when this happens. It usually means that we had some significant macroeconomic news that impacted the market. Last week, Wall Street analysts were expecting for Fed Chair Powell to lower interest rates. However, the Federal Reserve Committee voted 10-1 on holding interest rates where they are. This, of course, didn't make the stock market too happy, but I think what really impacted the market last week was what took place in the medical sector. So the Trump administration decided to pay Medicare and Medicaid less. Now, the headlines for this story are extremely confusing, and I want to help you understand them. So the administration gives money to these programs, pays money to these programs. They have decided to only pay 0.09%. And their positioning is that if they pay less, then they will charge consumers less. However, the medical sector can be affected in a completely different way in that it cannot make up the costs for the medical services that it provides, meaning that it will have to look for other ways to drive up revenue, which can then be passed on to the consumers, to us. They were expecting an increase of payment from the Trump administration of 4 to 6%. And in a confusing statement, Dr. Oz, who works for the Trump administration, said, by strengthening payment accuracy and modernizing risk adjustment, the CMS is helping ensure beneficiaries continue to have affordable plan choices and reliable benefits while protecting taxpayers from unnecessary spending that is not oriented towards addressing real health needs. Now, CMS stands for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. We saw that sector completely tank last week with United Health dropping over 20%, which is technically a crash. Same for Humana. It crashed at over 21%. And CVS Health shares decreased by almost 15%. So the fears here are that whatever increase in costs these companies and services have, they will somehow be passed down to the consumers. In more macroeconomic news, the stock market is also being impacted by Minnesota, but not in the ways you may think. Minnesota is home of large corporations, and last week we watched CEOs band together to oppose what was happening, and their fear of Trump was apparent. We had a professor from Yale School of Management, Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, say they don't want to speak out alone because they are afraid. They know that they will be shaken down, coerced, intimidated, speaking about the Trump administration, and retaliatory gestures are quite severe. We did, however, see Tim Cook step out by himself, telling his employees part of loving the country is an American duty to push back against overreach. What's happening with ICE is going too far. He called for the de-escalation and letting employees know that he has expressed his concerns to Trump directly. We also saw the week before last at Davos, JP Morgan CEO Jimmy Dimon said, "I don't like what I'm seeing with 5 grown men beating up little women. I think we should calm down a little bit on the internal anger about immigration." Later, an interviewer said, "I'm genuinely struck by the unwillingness of CEOs in America to say anything critical. There is a climate of fear in your country." To which Dimon responded, "I think they should change their approach to immigration. I've said it. What the hell else do you want me to say?" The next day after that statement, Trump sued JP Morgan Chase for $5 billion for closing his bank accounts after the January 6th insurrection. Now that we've covered what took place in the market last week, let's get into this week's episode. I am interviewing a dear friend of mine, Sandra Velasquez, who is the Chicana founder of Nopalera, a modern Mexican beauty and lifestyle brand. She launched this company in the middle of a pandemic from her Brooklyn apartment. In 2023, she found herself on Shark Tank season 14. She has built an incredible brand from the ground up, and we're going to speak to her today about her success and how she got here. Sandra, La Nopalera, welcome to Investies podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. It's always so good to see you. You're always so inspiring. Like every time I look at anything you're doing, I'm just like, that's my girl. I'm so proud. It feels like it's happening to me. You know what I mean?
Love that. I love that. That's how it should feel, because it can't just be for me. It has to be a mirror of everyone else's potential.
Yeah. So for those that don't or aren't familiar with the brand Nopalera, can you talk to us a little bit about the brand?
Yeah, so Nopalera is now 5 years old. Can you believe it, Linda?
I cannot.
So Nopalera is a modern Mexican beauty brand that I launched from my Brooklyn apartment during the pandemic with the mission of building an aspirational and premium Latina beauty brand, because I did not see any in the market at all. And so it's what I call the brown space opportunity, because, in business, we're always talking about the white space, but this is really the brown space opportunity. The client was there. I am the client. You are the client, right? We were there. And we just really needed things to reflect our own value and potential in our surroundings, on store shelves, in the digital world. And so obviously Nopalera is a Spanish word for prickly pear cactus. And so that is the star ingredient in all of our body products.
It's so fascinating to me. And I say that when I see you, I am so proud. And it does feel like it's happening to me because, as you said, everything that is happening to you is happening for all of us. It is opening up doors, and not just like doors where you want to create something and you can go and do it, but almost like doors breaking our limiting beliefs of what we can and can't accomplish. And I really feel like watching you go through the process of creating soap in your New York apartment to taking it, driving it just all the way through as far as you could. And we're going to get into how far you've gone, was something almost like out of a storybook, like a complete miracle that was unfolding right before our eyes. I was lucky enough to get some of the behind the scenes because we built our relationship during the time that you were building the brand. But I think for everyone externally, the moment where we really saw you break through was obviously on Shark Tank. Before we get into your experience on Shark Tank, I want to talk to you about the mental process that you had to go through to think that you could create a soap in your apartment that is now in Ulta. What is the big store at the mall?
Nordstrom.
Nordstrom.
Yeah.
How does that, can you talk to me about how that happens?
Yes. Well, first, I just want to give, a shout out to you because when we met, I was in a critical moment of knowing and acknowledging that I needed to break my own limiting beliefs around what was possible. And a lot of that has to revolve around money because I'm in a business. I'm not running a nonprofit here where this is a consumer business that we need to make money to survive, to thrive, to grow, to achieve the mission, right? And so you were very instrumental, very critical in that part of my journey of like just understanding what was possible and addressing what you are now famous for is addressing our money wounds, right? And so if you want, there's a saying that if you want something done, give it to a busy mom. And I know that, you can relate to that. And I remember in a time where I had lost my job. My daughter was 13. I didn't have a savings. I only had credit card debt and I had student loans. And so, I'm not unique in this where we find ourselves in our valleys of our life, because it forces you to get creative. When everything is going well, you're not inspired or, compelled to make a change, right? If the bills are getting paid, the house is good and groceries are in the fridge, then it's like, why are you going to push yourself? What incentive do you have to push yourself to evolve? And really, the thing about entrepreneurship that I, have accepted is that it is 100% a mirror into who you are and how willing you are to evolve as a human being, as an individual. Most people just get to a certain place and then they're good. And like, I get it. This is not a judgment. Not everybody needs to, build a business and write a book and, do all of the things, right? But I literally had nothing to lose at that moment in my life. So I was like, I might as well go for it. And honestly, looking back, my vision is bold, right? I really am actually trying to change the conversation about the value of us as people. And Linda, there's no way in my wildest nightmares that I could have imagined I'd be building this brand in this historical political climate. Mm-hmm. No one had put the words Mexican and beauty together in a sentence before I launched Nopalera. And here we are. And I don't need to narrate what's happening right now in this moment in January of 2026.
Right. So let me back up really quick. You decide to build the brand. Where were we with COVID? Like where in what stages was the world really in?
Yeah. So it was 2019. So COVID was nowhere to be found. We didn't know what that was. And even when COVID came, right, because people are always like, wow, I can't believe you launched in the pandemic. And I was like, nobody knew what that meant when it came, right? We thought we were going to be home for 2 weeks. We did not know we were going to be home for 2 years. And so I had been building June 2019 is when the idea came to me. That's when the divine download came to me. And I decided I'm going to build a premium Latina brand called Nopalera, and I'm going to figure it out. And then I didn't launch until November 2020. So, what COVID is like, it was like February, March, I think it's really of 2020 is really when everything started to shut down. But I was like, I'm launching this thing. I have been building this. It is happening. And it just worked out in my favor that everyone was stuck at home and ordering their beauty products at home. So there was kind of a big boom for like a lot of D2C brands during COVID, which has now popped, right? Because a lot of those brands that we launched with Linda are now closed.
That's right.
Everyone like rethought their life and their purpose, and a lot of businesses and brands were created, but not all of them made it.
Yeah. And I definitely want to get into that, which is really the reason why we're having the call. But I want our listeners to understand your journey before we dive into that. Something that I talk about a lot is about creative destruction, which is a term that was invented back in the 1930s of uh, the catalysts of certain businesses that explode that are created during a crisis. We got to see Bitcoin come out of the 2008 financial crisis. We got to see Airbnb come out of that crisis as well. And it is so fascinating to me how during a crisis, we are forced to go inward and come up with an internal idea. And I heard something yesterday that really spoke to me that was, if God gave you the idea to execute something, the idea is whole, meaning that not only does it come with the idea of execution, you will be guided executing it every step of the way, including having the customers. Right? But we have to lean into that. We have to really believe that. And so we have seen time and time again that when we have crisis taking place, financial, whatever it may be, that big ideas come out of those moments. And we got to see maybe the idea for you come out of a crisis prior, but you executed it in the middle of a crisis and you didn't let that stop you. And the timing was perfect. So it makes me think of that concept of if you get the download for the idea, then all of the other pieces will fall into place no matter what. And that's exactly what you are able to do. I love that you brought up divine download because I do strongly believe in inspired action. Both of us really, truly benefited during COVID. The stock market blew up. I generated a ton of clients that wanted to hear about how to invest in the stock market. It was just like this perfect timing. And there was this download that I received that said, you need to start a stock market workshop. And I was obedient to that download. And, I talked about obedience this morning in our group because we're currently working on Patreon on abundance and understanding money in an energetic way. I hate the word obedience, but I hate it because a lot of the times it's perceived as something that you do externally, like you're obedient to someone outside of you. Where we need to be consistently obedient. The only place, it is not to what other people think, it is to what we are being led to do internally. And that is not always easy, Sandra, at all.
No. And I would say that if you want a word replacement for obedience, I would just say commitment to your own evolution. That's kind of a longer-winded way of saying it, but it's a similar concept. It's like, if you get an idea, I also agree with you, Linda, and I have said this publicly, like if you get an idea, it is for a reason. Mm-hmm. That idea was given to you for a reason. And the challenge is that me as a Leo, I'm admitting myself here, like I like to know the how, like tell me how I'm going to, and Linda, I have never known the how. Mm-hmm. I have never known the how. I've only known the what. Even when I was building the brand, I just knew what it was. I knew that it was a premium Latina brand called Nopalera, that I wanted people to feel a certain way when they saw it, felt it, and experienced it, but I didn't even know what the products were. Like I go back to my old decks and I was like thinking I was going to make a facial cleanser and some, like none of those things even happened. Because it was never about, the product specific. It wasn't about a product. It was about the brand. It was about what we were building and how it's going to make people feel and how it's going to change the conversation. But anyway, not to get off track, I have never, even in this moment, Linda, 5 years later, do I know the how.
I love
and
this.
And that is hard. It is hard because we want to know the how. I'm like, give me the wiki how. Give me the 1, 2, 3 step. Tell me how I'm going to get to 50 million. I don't know. Exactly. Right. That's the challenge, is living in uncertainty is another way of saying it. Living in uncertainty. None of us like that. I don't like it. But what I have come to terms with is that this is it. Like we have arrived. There is no arrival. Even when you arrive, you're not certain. And I've seen this with other founders who have exited, right? $100 million exits and more. there is no arrival. The arrival is today.
Yes, yes. So we're in this, it's tied to this, so I apologize for continuing to bring it up. But in Patreon, we are focusing on understanding the cause and the effect. And the idea of cause and effect is in the cause, that is where you connect with source, whatever you believe in, and then source guides you on a moment-to-moment basis. And focusing on the cause is what produces all of the effects. But we, as you just mentioned, are taught to focus on the effect and worship the effect, which is the how, which is the actual manifestation already taken place. And this concept is if you continuously focus on the effect, you will never be able to generate a cause because you're continuously looking at what is instead of what isn't. And so you have done that, I feel like kicking and punching, but you've done it, but you have stayed true to that. I feel like every time we hop on a call, it's almost like you're at like the edge. You're on this ledge that is like the ledges keep getting scarier and scarier for you.
Yes. And Linda, I always quote you actually because you gave me a great visual reference of like, it's like Super Mario Brothers. You're on level 1 and you slayed the dragon, or like you dodge the fireballs, and now you go to level 2 and now there's fireballs and there's like, arrows flying at you. Like every level just has new things flying at you. There is no moment of, you cannot acquiesce. You cannot just take your hands off the wheel. There's no chilling because it is ever evolving. Marketing is ever evolving. The cultural zeitgeist is ever evolving. What resonated with people during COVID is no longer, like, no one cares about bath soaks anymore. We're not at home soaking in our baths, right? Everything is always evolving. It's a moving target. And so that contributes to the uncertainty, right? Because there's never like, well, I already know how to do this because I did it last year. It's like with chefs, right? They tell chefs like you're only as good as your last meal, and so that uncertainty is something that I am learning to live with. And I think from the outside, people are like, oh, you're so, you're succeeding, you're successful, you're killing it. And I'm like, does it look like that way? Because I feel like I am still very much on that ledge, to your point, Linda. It is, and getting comfortable on that ledge is the job.
Yes, yes.
Hey, want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
So you have this idea, you execute the idea, and there comes a moment where you have the audacity to raise money. Can you talk to us about this audacity? And can you talk to us about how much you intended to fundraise and what the result was from that?
Yeah. So, I want to, caveat this with that. The reason I raised outside capital, because I think it gets glorified. I think people are like, oh, you raised millions, clap, clap, clap. The only reason I raised money is because no bank would give me a loan. No bank would give me a line of credit. I didn't have my own money. I didn't have a house to sell. I did not have friends and family. My parents do not have money to lend me. And so I was like, well, who's got the money? Because I don't. And no one that I know has the money. So I'm going to go and have to meet the people with the money. And who are those people? How do they have money? It was a whole new world. It was like literally stepping into a whole new universe, and understanding how that universe works is still endlessly fascinating to me, Linda. As we talk about this, all of us live in our economic bubbles. We all know people like ourselves. Mm-hmm. Wherever you live in a neighborhood with people that have a similar income as you. They have similar house sizes as you, right? And we live in these bubbles, and those create our realities. And we think that that is all there is, and that is normal, right? Oh, we're like, we look around, we're doing good. We're doing just like my neighbor, right? We're doing just like my cousin, just like my best friend from high school. But the reality is that there's all these different bubbles that exist. And once you meet one person in that bubble, you meet everyone else, right? Because people with money know other people with money, just like people without money know other people without money. I know a lot of musicians because I was a musician, right? You need a bass player, I got you. You need a billionaire, I don't got you, And so it was like, where are those people with the money? Finding those people. So I applied to every pitch competition. I applied to every business accelerator. I went to all the beauty conferences and I met all the people. And then those people introduced me to their friends. And it's a snowball effect, right? So the first step is like, you have to puncture your bubble and step into another one to really see what's there. And one of the accelerators that I was in, was all about fundraising. It taught me like, what is a term sheet? What is a data room? It's like learning a sport, Linda. Like if you ask me to speak football, I'm going to fail. I don't know that terminology, but it can be learned. It can be learned. And so I say that because if you did not grow up learning this, no problem. You can learn it at any age in your life, right? It's never too late to learn a new language, right? To learn a new system, to meet new people. Remember, I launched my brand when I was 44. So don't tell me that you're too old. Okay. And so I had to go step into this world of fundraising. And it was scary as shit, right? Because I'm on the Zoom. Like I have never asked people for hundreds of thousands, certainly not millions of dollars, ever. And I didn't know anybody that had. So when I first set out to fundraise, I was like, I'm looking for $250,000. And even just saying $250,000, Linda, like created a knot in my stomach. Like, who am I to ask for $250,000? I have never seen $250,000. No one in my family has seen $250,000, right? And at the end of that pitch, Linda, which was my very first meeting of investors in my life, it was that accelerator culminated into a pitch day. And I gave my pitch and I was like, and today I'm asking for $250,000 and this is what we're going to use it for. And one investor said, why are you asking for so little? And that moment, Linda, I mean, I would say like shaped me, changed me. I'll never forget it because from her perspective, investors are looking for people that are bold, that have big ideas, that have big asks. And if you are coming across as someone who's just trying to survive, just trying to get by, like just give me the bag of rice and beans and I'll be good, I'll make it work, like that is not inspiring to someone who is like wanting you to blow this up. And so it took me then, I don't know how many months to come up with like, I'm going to go out and raise $500,000, $500,000, Linda. Again, all the things I said before apply to the $500,000. Never seen it, never knew anyone that had seen it. And then I had to change it again to $1 million. And then one of my advisors, I was at an event with her and she just leaned into me and she said, you really should just raise $2 million because it's the same amount of work as raising $1 million and you're going to need the runway. And I knew in my gut that she was right. And so I went home and I changed my deck to 2 million, which I wanted to throw up. And then I raised 2.6, Linda, is how that round closed. So it's what you call an oversubscribed round. But look at that journey, right? And the ceiling, Linda, all along was me. I think that's the takeaway that I want everyone to take from this story is that the ceiling was me. The ceiling was not that the money was not there, that the money was not available, that people didn't have it, the economy, blah, blah, blah. There is such an overabundance of money that in fact, last week I met with someone who manages family offices, who manages billionaires. Like they're not investing because they need more money. They're just investing like for fun.
Yeah. Wow. You go from doing a lot of internal work to get yourself to fundraise $200,000 to then settling on 2 million and actually raising 2.6 million. Thank you so much for saying that the limitation was you. Like that was you. I just wanted to reiterate that and pause there because we don't focus on that enough, right? This is what stops us from creating another, whatever it is, the idea when we get the divine download and we start to build all the walls that give us all the reasons of why we can't produce what our guidance is calling us to produce. And then you had a moment on national television and
yeah.
We were all so proud, to get to see you represent us on stage. It makes me emotional because I was in the behind the scenes. Sandra didn't even have clothes.
Oh my God.
She was wearing this, I want to say it's a black turtleneck, right?
Yes, like from Ross or I don't know. Yeah.
And a yellow
Skirt.
a yellow skirt, yes. And I have pictures of you in that from an event that we went to.
That was my outfit for the year.
It really was the outfit for the year. And we got to see you on national television in that outfit, pitching, your brand. It was a dream. How many years? What year was that?
That was, it aired January 2023, the very beginning. So now we're talking, so a full 2 years ago.
Yeah. What was that experience like? Did it give you the confidence? Like,
I think so. Shark Tank is a very nerve-wracking experience. I mean, and I was coming up with an advantage because remember, before Nopalera, I was a professional musician for 15 years, Linda. I was in front of a microphone in front of thousands of people all over the world. So I'm like, hello, Cleveland. Like, I got you. Like, I know how to be on stage and perform. But yes. Shark Tank is different because you're getting interrogated, number one. Number two, it's a sound stage. So everything that you see on television has music. It's been edited. It's chopped up. So it looks like it's moving fast. But when you're actually in the tank, it's like you could hear a pin drop. And so everyone has to over emote. And that was the part that caught me off guard, to be honest with you. So I felt like I had an advantage going in. Like, I know how to command a room. Like, that is something that I can confidently say because I have decades of experience doing that. Not everyone has that. And it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. But I also went in with like my range of what I was willing, how much I was willing to negotiate. And the sharks don't know anything about you. Like, that part is real. That is real life happening, unfolding. That there's no they don't get a memo. They don't review a deck. They don't know anything about you when you walk in. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to, I'm going to come in with my offer of offering 5%, but I'm willing to go up to like 10%. But then they asked for 30. And in that moment, Linda, the mission of Nopalera has always been, right, to build an aspirational Latina brand that makes people feel proud of who they are, invites everyone into a world of cultural connection. And our core value, as you know, is standing your worth. Mm-hmm. And, my father, not even my grandfather, my father used to pick fruit in the fields of California, right? We're not talking about many generations ago. We're talking about my dad, okay? Mm-hmm. Used to pick fruit in the fields of California. My mother grew up in the countryside of Mexico, like El Campo. She is not from like a city, right? Literally home made of mud. And how far they have come and then how far I have come, like for me to undercut that progress in that moment would have been a disservice to all of us. Mm-hmm. And so $300,000, did I need it at that moment? Absolutely. Did it make me want to throw up to say, no, thanks, keep your $300,000? Yes, absolutely. But again, it's this believing that there is something bigger on the other side of what is in front of you that is really hard. I want to just emphasize, it's not easy, right? To say, what's in front of me, what's being offered to me right now, that's nice, but I believe there's something bigger on the other side of this moment. And trusting in that, which again, this is where the faith comes in, this is where that self-belief comes in, is not easy. I just want to emphasize, it's not easy, right? If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, as they say. And I just believed that there was something bigger on the other side of it. It's like, this is great. This is a great moment. Thank you for that offer. But like, I'm thinking about my grandparents. I'm thinking about my parents. I'm thinking about our community and the standards that I have set as the leader of this brand and what we represent. It literally was not just about the $300,000. It was about what it represents for all of us, right? If I just say, yes, thank you so much, I'll take whatever you give me. Thank you. That is the wrong example for all of us, right? That is the wrong example.
It blew, I think, a lot of our minds, for you to walk away. It was incomprehensible because that's our culture. That's, as you already mentioned. But then it was like liberating. And you continue to fundraise. Can you tell us how much you fundraise to date?
Yeah. So after that Shark Tank episode is when I went and raised that seed round of the 2.6 million for a lot less equity than they wanted for $300,000. Right.
Yeah.
And so that was that round, which allowed me to bring my team in house. Right. Because I was like paying people by Venmo by the hour. Right. I was like, and so it allowed us to triple our revenue. Right. And then we almost grew a little too fast, honestly, like looking back. Instead of ideally, when you're a startup, you're growing like 100% year over year. We grew 200%. And so that we used all the cash very quickly, right? For everything, for brand, for inventory. And so here we are now in 2026. In this moment, as of today, I am in the process of closing our Series A round, raising $4 million.
Wow.
And it's funny because now I look back, Linda, of when I raised that seed round, I had, again, never seen $2 million in the bank account before. And it seemed like it was going to last forever. Like it was like eternal money. And now I understand how it's used and how quickly it goes. And so that I'm raising this 4 million round, I'm like, I'm already working on the Series B in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've raised, so the 2.6 plus 4. So so that's how much, it's, and obviously we've made more, right? But in order to grow as a consumer brand, it takes a lot. This is why a lot of people like to invest in tech, right? And not consumer.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
So I want to sort of pivot here a little, and the reason why we decided to jump on this call and have a vulnerable conversation. In that there is the perception of Sandra, and then there's Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk to Sandra today because I feel like so many of us can relate to what you are going through. And so you're still breaking through limiting beliefs in your personal life. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to tell you, like, I've broken through and I've arrived and I'm sitting on the couch, but that is absolutely not the case, Linda. It is a journey, and it's just like exercise, right? It's like just because you exercised once doesn't mean the muscle is going to last. You have to keep exercising. This thing of breaking through our limiting beliefs is a commitment to your own evolution. And it is just like, it is a practice. And if you stop doing it, like I still feel myself getting pulled back constantly into the old ways of thinking, and being conscious of that, I think, is an accomplishment. Like, okay, I recognize that way of thinking, right? Where it's like something doesn't go well. And I'm like, the first thing you do is you look around your room, like, what can I sell? What can I sell on eBay, right? Like that version of me, like that was me for a long time. I sold guitars. I sold my clothes, right? Like, because I didn't have what you call an opportunity fund, right? Some people call it a savings account, whatever it is. I don't own a car. I don't own a home, still to this day, right? Running a multi-million-dollar company. And it is, I feel only this year, Linda, did I make, like I could feel the shift internally where I have learned to hold what I call hold two truths at once. Because last year, Linda, honestly, I was very much in, I would say, turmoil, like almost resentful of how people perceive me versus what I was actually living in my real life. I was, I did like 5 keynote speeches, right, last year, where people wanted to come and take their picture with me. They wanted me to sign their book, right? They wanted to tell me how inspiring I was. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that you have more money in your bank account than I do right now. I'm almost positive. And so this dissonance, Linda, was like really upsetting me because I was like, why do people keep putting me up on a pedestal and like thinking that I'm so inspiring Like when I'm over here struggling, like I paid my daughter's tuition on my Amex, Linda. And I even said that to one of the groups that I did a keynote speech, and they were like, I don't even think they knew how to like receive that. But it's like, I think there's many ways to look at this. It's like, there is a cost to success. Like, and I mean, personally, right? Like you can build a successful business, but that doesn't mean that all the money, the money is not in my account, right? I have employees, I have inventory, I have marketing. And so now I've come to this place where I'm no longer resentful. I'm just now trying to receive the compliment. Like, thank you so much. I'm glad that you think I'm inspiring. But now how I have positioned it in my mind is like, if you think I'm inspiring, all that tells me is that like, I am a mirror to your own potential. Because the goal here is not for people to look up to me. The goal here is for you to look up to yourself. The goal is for you to evolve into your fullest potential. That is the goal. And if my brand and my product and my story can help you do that, that is the success. The success is not for me to be famous and you to still be at home feeling like shit about yourself. The goal is for you to be like, wow, like I can do that, right? That's the goal. And so, but I think part of that is sharing the truth, the honest, raw conversations that we're having now of like, it's not pretty, right? Yeah. The evolution, growth is hard. I mean, look at babies, right? It's hard to grow. It hurts. It hurts when your teeth grow in. It hurts when your teeth fall out. It hurts when your legs grow. It hurts. And so what I've learned is to just hold the two truths. Like I can be successful and I can also be in a moment of my bank account being a lot lower than it should be for me to feel comfortable at night. And both of those can exist. One does not cancel out the other. And that's like what I have now finally come to. Ask me in a year and I'll see how I've evolved, right? Yeah. But this is where I am as of, January 2026. And the thing that has been consistent is really trying to remain present in gratitude, because doing so grounds me to the present moment, and it forces you to acknowledge all the things that are going right. What's going right is that today I am healthy and I'm talking to my friend Linda, who is also healthy. Our internet is working. That's awesome. I have food in my fridge that I can see from here. Both of my parents are alive and they are healthy. My daughter is healthy. These are the things that are real, that if any of those things go bad, Linda, everything else sucks. Yeah. So reminding myself of those things helps me tackle the other problems so that I know, like, actually, if I were to really bucket out all the things in my life, like it's mostly going well, right? Yes, I need to fix this thing on Shopify. Yes, we need to fix this customer journey. Yes, we need to increase the AOV and the LT. Those are all like in process problems that it's very easy to focus on those things and feel like everything's going wrong. Right? Like the stock market dipped. Are things going wrong? Like, no, like take stock of the other things, right, in life and not just look at things in a silo, right? And make them the whole picture. But I'll just stop there because I can keep going. But I hope that is like insightful.
Very insightful. A couple of things that came up for me. I got an image of like when Jeff Bezos, I don't know what year this was, but it was a long time ago. He looked a lot older back then. I don't know. But he had a wood table that he made himself, I think, out of plywood and some wood. And that was his desk. And the sacrifice that he probably went through something similar. And we hear that from founders all the time, of sleeping on floors, not having food, so many things that have to happen in order to make the dream work. You're in that process. You explained it almost like being a baby. And another image came to me when you said it hurts. It hurts. Growing pains are real. I also got the image of like how it hurts just me being a mother, how it hurts me as a mother watching my baby in pain and, wanting to constantly come to the rescue, or don't do that, don't touch that, don't climb that, putting all these guardrails. And that's the same when we step into the world and share with our family and friends of what we want to do, or, we're going to raise this money and do this and that, and people around you wanting to continuously protect you and give you their limitations of what can be possible and what can't. You continue to be an example of not giving up, being a baby and saying this, I can't do this, I quit. And I say that, jokingly, but the reality is that we are watching a lot of brands that belong to our friends and women that have been in our circle diminish. And I want to take it back to the cause and the effect, because you said something that was really clear to me. You could focus, completely simmer on, I have to pay my daughter's tuition on the Amex. I cannot afford the tuition. This isn't going anywhere. I can't continue to do this. I need to be able to afford things. I need to be able to have a house, and I need to be able to have a car. And all of those reasons would have been legitimate for giving up. No one would have judged you for it. We would have understood, just like we understand our acquaintances and friends in the space of entrepreneurship. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I guess my question to you is, and maybe you answered it already, maybe you not giving up is just purely rooted in gratitude.
So a couple of things that you said, Linda. I first want to touch on something that who you surround yourself with is very important, especially when you are at a moment where you decide you're going to evolve. Like you need, one of the first things I did when I launched my brand, I would say 6 months in, is I joined a mastermind of entrepreneurial women that were already making millions. Some were making 100,000, but the commonality is that everyone was there committed to their own evolution and their own growth. And so everybody had a growth mindset. So that is, if you do not have that, it will make this journey so much harder. So please, if you are listening and you are trying to evolve into the next version of yourself, you might need to get new friends. And that doesn't mean that you have to delete people from your phone or but you do need to be around the energy of people that are also growing. And I think, the community that you have created is that, right? So if you're already in Linda's group, you've already made the commitment that you're going to grow, that you want to learn, you want to evolve, there's more, you deserve more, you want to give back more, right? And so that cannot be understated enough, because even to this day, I still have my CEO squad. You've met them, you know them. We meet every Monday on Zoom, right? And it's like, when they're winning, I'm winning. It's the same thing you said to me at the top of this call. You need a success squad. Everybody deserves that. Everybody needs it. It can be 3 people. It doesn't have to be, they don't have to live in your same city. Not all of mine do, right? That's why we get on Zoom. So I just wanted to say that. I would say the other thing is that I've watched, as I mentioned, and you've mentioned, that some of the brands that launched at the same time as us during the pandemic, some of the Latino-owned brands are now closed. And you could say, well, they ran out of capital, they didn't have access to funding. But I don't think that that's just it. I think that's really oversimplifying the role of money in this, because we've already established and we know for a fact that there is plenty of money. That is not the money has never run out, and it will never run out as long as we all live on this earth.
Amen.
That is not the issue. So then what is it, right? Is it that you don't like asking for it? Is it that you feel uncomfortable having it? Is it that you don't know what to do with it, right? Because there's also many examples of brands that had the money and they still closed. So again, if it's not the money, what is it? And I, from the beginning, have been driven by a purpose, right? The mission of this is bigger than me. It is bigger than a SKU. It's not a retailer. It's a much bigger mission that I am fighting for. And so that is what continues to push me to find the solution, because every problem has a solution. Everything can be resolved or pivoted or learned from to find the next step and the next solution. And that is what I think my journey has been, right? There have been moments, Linda, where it If I was asking Dave Ramsey, he would have told me, shut down your business. You're out of money. Like, don't keep going. But I'm like, no, I'm going to go get a loan. And then you know what? I'm going to get another loan. And I'm going to pay off this loan with that loan. And I'm going to keep finding the solution because as we know, the other thing that we haven't really touched on is that a lot of us that come from scarcity are not comfortable with debt.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And that is when you're building a business, entire businesses have been built on debt.
Yes, with no qualms.
No qualms. No one's upset. No one's judging themselves. No one is nothing, right? And it's interesting to me, Linda, that we have been conditioned to believe that owning a home is the end all be all, which is 100% a liability and a debt. Like we're comfortable with that as debt.
Thank you.
But we're not comfortable taking out a loan to fund our business. Why is that, right? So again, this is where the unpacking of where our beliefs come from is a whole ass exercise. This is a whole exercise that like requires the work and thought and why do I think that? And where did that come from? Did I learn it from my parents? Did I learn it from my school? Is it my religion? Whatever it is, that is a lot of self-reflection that most people do not want to do.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier to just keep going on what we think is true. Yeah. It's just a lot easier to keep going with what we think is true, what we've been told, what everyone around us, our neighbors, our parents, right? And so I had to get new friends in my mid 40s, right? And I'm still making them. And it's that commitment to just solving the problem and holding the uncertainty and really not letting go of the North Star, which is that in 100 years, when we're no longer on this earth, I still want people to be using Nopalera. And it has become normalized to have a brand in Spanish with a nopal as the star ingredient in the product. In the same way that Burt's Bees is like it's like integrated into American life. Like I want Nopalera to be that as well. And to have just normalized that, not just for other brands, but for us, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think if your question is like, how do you not give up, right? Why haven't you given up and others have? And again, no judgment, right? Everyone closes their business for a reason. They have to do what's best for their own mental health, for their families. Everyone is in a different life cycle stage with their children, right? My daughter is 18. So like, I'm not breastfeeding while trying to do this. Like women that are building businesses with small children get all the Grammys, in my opinion. I'm like, you go. So it is that I started with a strong mission. I didn't start with a product idea. I started with a mission. And then really understanding what is your purpose. And this is something that I think you can only learn with time, because if you had asked me what my purpose was 20 years ago, Linda, I would have told you that it was to write songs. Like my mission, I was a musician. I thought I literally was like, this is why I'm on earth. This is the gift that God gave me. I was put on earth to write songs and bring people together through song. I'm going to sing in Spanish because I'm going to represent. I'm going to sing about the topics that are important. And nowhere in my visions or dreams did I think I would be sitting here today talking to you about my beauty brand that I'm running, right? That was not part of the plan. And what I've learned is that the mission was not it wasn't a medium. The mission was not music. The mission is not beauty either, Linda. The mission is to inspire people to live to their full potential.
Yes. Thank you.
And so what does that mean? It means that like after Nopalera, I'm going to be doing something else that's accomplishing the same thing, but it's to inspire people to live to their full potential. Inspire is kind of a flighty word. I'm going to say like, because again, the inspiration sounds like it's coming from me, right? It's really to be a mirror of people's full potential, because I think all of us just can just be our best selves, right? And we all deserve that in this one chance that we have on earth.
Wow, Sandra, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. This was such a great conversation. I know I needed the injection of inspiration. It's always amazing to see your journey and as we watch it continue to unfold. So thank you so much for joining us on Investies podcast. Please let us know where we can find your products, where we can follow you online for continuous inspiration and keeping up what you're doing with Nopalera.
Yes, you can find Nopalera at nopalera.co, our website. You can also find us on Ulta Beauty USA online, Ulta Mexico in store, Ulta Middle East in store, Credo, Nordstrom, and like hundreds of boutiques across the country. But definitely Ulta.com is very helpful to us as a brand because more sales online mean like that translates into actually being in store.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. If you love the show, make sure you subscribe and, of course, rate and review it. This is a Cosmic Standard production. Thank you to the team Asia Simpson, Eliza Smith, and Jacob Winnick.
Close your eyes. Listen to Monday.com. Feel the sensation of an AI work platform. So flexible and intuitive, it feels like it was built just for you. Now open your eyes, go to Monday.com, start for free, and finally breathe.